I'm here in Beijing with Jeremy Goldkorn, the founder of Danwei, Chinese internet and media company. Congratulations, Jeremy, on having your site blocked by the Chinese government.
Thanks very much, Alan. Always a compliment when they do that.
Jeremy, I'd like to ask you, first of all, what are 3 points that foreign companies need to be aware of when trying to build a digital presence on the Chinese internet?
Well, it's very different. I think fundamentally it's very different from the English language internet. The companies and services that Chinese internet users like are different from foreign services. So everything you know about Facebook and Twitter, for example, does not apply in China because those two websites, aside from being blocked right now, never had very high usage rates amongst Chinese people. I think the Chinese internet has always been more of a social networking environment than possibly the Western internet. Chinese students, the earliest users of the internet, were always using BBS or forum websites, which have always had a social networking component to them. So in some ways, the sort of big change of the last 5 years in the English internet, China was in some ways earlier than that. The networking part has always been a bigger feature of it. Obviously, the internet here is subject to all kinds of restrictions and censorship, so that changes its nature too. But because the traditional media in China are subject to even stronger controls and censorship, the internet has become a place where people feel much freer to express themselves and do that. And information about particularly scandals spreads particularly fast on the Chinese internet. So there's a lot of opportunity there for Western companies. There are a lot of people using it socially, but there's also danger.
Okay, that's great. And tell me, what are a couple considerations you think Chinese companies and brands should be looking at as they're building their digital presence here domestically?
Well, I think that although the situation is changing, Chinese companies and brands still suffer within China sometimes from a credibility problem. For a lot of Chinese people, especially when it comes to communications, they tend to be suspicious of communication messages from Chinese companies. And there are a lot of Chinese companies that use the most basic and obvious astroturfing methods to promote themselves, of spamming bulletin boards and comment sections with very obvious spam. So I think a Chinese company that wants to build an online reputation and market to Chinese customers, build a brand for the long term, building a sense of trust between the company and their brand and the consumers is the most important thing they could do.
That's great. Jeremy, thanks a lot for being on 3 and 2, the video blog, and good luck in getting your site turned back on.
Thanks very much, Alan.